Hello, Jen. Looks like you're first again. Actually, it looks like I'm streaming on such a delay that things that happened before I hit start the stream are actually arriving to the stream. So like me eating a little peanut butter morsel and then like touching my head and like rubbing my brow and all that. It looks like all that just like went out. I didn't set up the stream for ultra fast, no buffer latency, whatever. So yeah, sorry about that. Glad I wasn't talking shit about Jen in those 2 seconds. Other than, oh look, Jen's first again. I wouldn't talk shit about Jen. Let's see. There we go. So I didn't really uh, set up any other screens or anything for you guys to see. And I guess the only reason why I'm using my broadcasting program right now is to do this to you. That's it. That's the only production polish we have today. Um, Hello, Benaberry. You are second. Uh, Yet again, you have not made it to first. So today, um, I spent my whole day catching up on entering notes into a database for my job as a counselor. You know, you take notes by pen while stuff is happening, and then you got to put those notes in an electronic health record system. And yeah, they kind of pile up on you. The way I like to think about notes these days is notes is like laundry, right? You can get 100% caught up on your laundry, have everything cleaned and folded and put away. But what you're doing today is only making more, right? Oh, hi, Nick. Nick, you're telling me that Grand Island is now full of COVID 19. Doesn't surprise me. Were they doing the stay at home order? Were they second most affected city in Nebraska? Oh, and which one do you live in, by the way? Hi, medical vitriol. Um, so the title of this video, I'll just get to it. I just watched WrestleMania, 2 days worth of WrestleMania packed into like one day, right? And I was putting in my notes on my computer at the same time and just using that as my ambiance, and it's different. It's way different because there is no crowd at wrestling shows right now. So they're putting on these wrestling shows basically just to keep people entertained, get their mind off of it. But with there being no crowd and no crowd noise, it immediately like snaps you out of your ability to suspend your disbelief and enjoy the wrestling because there's no crowd. So much of what they do is for the crowd. Um, there was a wrestler named Otis. He's a big fat guy, right? And his whole shtick is that he is a big fat guy. Like They put a really small T-shirt on him so that his gut hangs out. Right? He was doing the worm for like his finishing move, and then hit a guy with an elbow drop. Um, the whole purpose of the worm is to be flashy for the crowd, you know, and be flamboyant and put a pirouette and a spin on your, you know, ownage of the opponent. And it Terrence in the chat, he's saying he likes UFC, but it would seem kind of lame to try to do it now. At least with the UFC, there has been the Ultimate Fighter Fighter of the Week thing, where I think it was well, yeah, it was the Ultimate Fighter show. Used to have like a fight every week in later seasons that I've seen, and so like there's nobody in there except for the ring guys, right? There's no crowd, and there's like a precedent for that. These are people who haven't made it, so who would ever pay to watch them fight? Is the premise, right? Even though they could probably be thrown on the undercard of any fight card, as long as the UFC's stamp was on it, people are going to pay to see it, you know. So I'm watching this wrestling show, and like there is no like there is no art to this without the crowd, right? It's very spooky, and you know I've been watching like last week tonight with John Oliver, and having no crowd noise to that makes it spooky. There's been home shows for Trevor Noah's Daily Show on YouTube. There's been Jimmy Kimmel has done a couple shows from home, you know, with no crowd noise. And when you can tell that it's a joke that's been written for the crowd noise, as far as the laughter, the laugh track, if you were, to carry the joke, when you can tell, like the joke doesn't stand on its own, and they are just bombing as comedians in what they're trying to do, right? And so it it makes it creepy looking to me, you know, and I can't enjoy it. And when I see it, I feel like this is just another thing about coronavirus, you know, telling me that you're trying to entertain me in the middle of a pandemic, and so we have to do these little things to be able to still have a show. Those shows just remind me that we're still in a pandemic, and that I'm still, you know, staying at home to try to avoid getting sick with something that could kill me. And like the whole point of wrestling right now, you know, is to give us a little bit of normalcy in the middle of this crisis. And even Stephanie McMahon made a little speech in the beginning of it and said, you know, there's no crowd this year, you know, because of what's going on in the world. And like they're really vague about it too, but at least we know where their intention is, to keep things a little bit normal for you at home, so that you can at least, you know, see your wrestling if you're addicted to wrestling. And it is an addiction. I'm an addiction counselor. I'm just going to call it out right now. I used to be addicted to it, right? Nowadays, I watch WrestleMania each year, and I don't watch any of the other wrestling shows. And the vignettes get like this montage of everything that built up to that point throughout the year, and you're not missing a thing, because they're going to recap what what the beef these two guys had was anyway in the lead up to the match. So you could just skip all the other stuff and getting like little tidbits of the story each week, little installments to it. You can just skip to the end, right? And that's what I'm doing for the rest of my life. I own my life, and I'm just going to keep up with it by watching just the WrestleManias, right? Anyways, um, it's it's so not wrestling. Like I know it's been going on for each and every show since they did the stay at home orders and the social distancing orders. Like I've heard that Raw and SmackDown have been basically just filmed from this performance center out in on the East Coast, and it's where they do their developmental stuff. So they've just been filming everything there, and I guess they're keeping their superstars sequestered away from everybody and each other because all it would take would be like one of them to get the coronavirus and then be in the ring, and then they would spread it around to all of them. Maybe it's supposed to be aerosolized and spread by coughing, but you know, it could be that just like a staph infection, you can get it from rubbing around on a ring where somebody else had a staph infection. You know, that happened to Samoa Joe years ago. He had a really bad staph infection. He went off on the guy who owned the ring and was yelling at him, "Don't you know how to use a fucking mop and a bucket of bleach? Fucking moron!" Rah, 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 rah. Yeah, it was good times. So for uh, Pluto Coffins, uh, he said they should have played hype tracks. Like canned laughter they call it, right? Um, they could like pipe in fake crowd noise, right? My idea is actually they could have socially distanced like Hall of Fame wrestlers that maybe they inducted into a Hall of Fame, and they could have put them in like separate balconies around the place where like each one of them is like so far away from the other ones that they couldn't get them sick, but there would at least be some crowd noise. Like if it was a crowd of like 40 or 50, it would be enough crowd noise for me to feel like there's a reason for them to do some of the moves they're doing, right? But when Braun Strowman like let out a roar at Goldberg, I was I was laughing. I was not feeling like, oh, that's a tough guy. No, I was like, oh my goodness, he's just doing that for nothing, you know. Um, my ass is dragging says CGI fake crowds. I don't even need that. I just need a small group of people, and if they have to be 10 feet apart from each other, that's fine. You know, even 20 people in there. They have the announcers, they have the ref, they have the wrestlers. They could put a few more people in there and just tell the cameramen to start cheering. You know, the cameramen are usually like unbiased. Tell the cameramen, the ring guy, the announcers, and everything to, you know, put some crowd noise into the room. You know, it reminds me that this shit sucks. That we're all locked in, and I don't like that. Um, to their credit, though, the WWE realized that a people were having way too much time on their hands right now, so they could get away with having a 2-night extravaganza. So now WrestleMania for the first time ever was 2 nights worth of wrestling. It was like a really, really long show, like spanned 2 nights. So they realized people had enough time to watch it, and B, they realized people need to be distracted over this whole fucking weekend because it's like it's dire news all around. So big props to them for that. But also they realized how wrong it all looks anyway. So they went ahead and they made two of the matches, the last match each night, really cinematic. So the Boneyard match with AJ Styles versus The Undertaker looked like their WWE film company that made that movie The Marine with John Cena. Like it looked like they went all out with like the production style of it, right? And it was a very unique experience, right? It was like a wrestling show got turned into an action movie at the end. Like it was completely overproduced. They were like, well, if we're not live, might as well like pre-tape everything and just make this huge action scene. And it was about as good as the fight scene with Roddy Piper in They Live. I'm telling you, it's pretty fucking good. And I was impressed. Just that they saw that there was this unique opportunity to take that artistic liberty, and they ran with it. And then on the second night, it was capstoned by John Cena versus Bray Wyatt, and they turned it into something like Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Like seriously, or hold on, like Pee Wee Herman's Playhouse. So it was different, and since they had this opportunity to be different and not, I mean, I wasn't going to see a match with crowd noise, so there's no reason to have John Cena like put his fist up in the air and stand up on the the top turnbuckle and say you can't see me because like there actually is no one there to see him. You know, fuck that. Go ahead and make it cinematic. If it's got to be this year, and they did. You know, they had a last man standing match with uh, Edge and Randy Orton, and they were beating up each other all through the complex. But that's how last man standing matches go. Like the cameras usually like follow them backstage, and so that match itself didn't feel as off because the crowd wasn't there. Because many of those matches are like falls count anywhere, so why not just have it filmed all over this other part of the complex, where the fight spilled out to, where you don't see a crowd and you don't miss it because it's just a knockdown, drag out slobber knocker behind the scenes, right? So, I see that there are some opinions in the chat. Um, Pluto Coffin says, "I always kind of thought wrestling was a little silly though, but I bet it's 100 times worse without an audience." Yeah, yeah. The whole spectacle of wrestling is like the Roman Colosseum. It plays to the crowd. All of the moves that they do are over the top exaggerations for the crowd to see. if they actually had to fight each other, it would look more like the UFC. You know, they're flamboyant for a reason, for your viewing entertainment. And when you're the only one in the room and you're watching this thing and there's no crowd to watch it with you, it feels really weird that they're doing this flamboyant thing for your benefit, you know, and you're the only one watching. I'm like, well, why not just be a little bit more brutal and a little less dancing, you know, just go at it. Is this really what I like when there's a crowd? You know, it's really, I feel like the crowd hides a lot of the pacing problems with wrestling. Like, they pace it to the crowd, and then when there's no crowd and they keep doing that same pace, you realize, wow, they're kind of resting in between each big bump that they're doing, you know, and it it doesn't seem that way when there's a larger crowd around. You know, the crowd noise itself becomes part of the uh, the fight. Hi Barry, hi Poseidon, hi Pluto, Terrence, Nick, uh, Bagel Gaming wants me to shut the fuck up. Okay, that's why we're all here, for me to just shut the fuck up. And Barry says PB and J to the chat. Poseidon wants to know, is Hillary protecting Bill from foreign saliva? Why would she have to? Is she ever going to kiss him again? I mean, unless she's going to run for office again, there's really no reason for her to be seen in public with him ever the fuck again. You know, I'm just being a realist here. I don't really know that they were ever able to make amends truly with their relationship. I think they were just staying together for the public office, if not the kids. You know, what he did was, you know, something that made her the laughing stock of the whole country. Like, she was the cuckold. So yeah, now that it's all over, I mean, she could just be her. She could just do her. Like, she could have boyfriends now. Like, who the fuck is he to say that she can't? You know. Um, so I'll tell you a joke I heard a long time ago. So Bill Clinton, when he was in the White House, it snowed one year, and he went out on the balcony just to breathe in some of the brisk cold air, the clean air in Washington D.C., where like the cold like rips all the pollution out of there. Just wanted a breath of fresh air. He looks down from the balcony and he sees in the snow, written in urine, yellow letters that say "Bill sucks." Right, and so he's pissed off. He's like, "Oh my god, one of my Secret Service agents is going rogue and insulting the president. We need to find out who this is." So he sends out his personal guard to go find out who did it, right? And so they find the guy whose urine it was that spelled out those letters, and they tell him, um, "Sir, we found the man who did the peeing." And he's like, "Great, bring him in." and they say, but there's a catch. Um, it was Hillary's handwriting. There you go. No laugh track. No, but no nothing. That's what I sound like when I deliver a joke, and there's nobody here to laugh. Hi, Bugsy. Pluto's alternative punchline is that LOL, Hillary has a dick. And Nick says it's a horrible joke. Fuck you, Nick. You tell a joke. Telling jokes is hard. Nick, I will play your fucking stand up on my channel and dissect it. Okay? Some of it's probably funnier than what I just told. But you watch it. I have the ability to go to other scenes and play shit now because I have this OBS system set up almost. I could do my intro anytime I want. I could just as easily throw your stand-up routine on my live thing, and then we could all have a time dissecting it. Aries wants to know, how do you stop the Polish tank? Go ahead. You shoot the guy pushing it. Okay. You ever notice that like Polak jokes are racist? You know, here I am, world's worst social justice warrior, right? And I'm realizing, you know, substitute any other type of people in there. It's a racist joke, and we accept it. We're like, fuck yeah, tell a Polak joke. Terrence Hypno Nipple says, how many people will die in Colorado from COVID? And I'm hoping he has a punchline. Jesus, Terrence, we're telling jokes right now. Okay, look. Uh, Aries says he's only racist against tanks. Terrence, if you can't come up with a punchline for how many people will die in Colorado, I open it up to everyone in the chat. Go ahead. How many people will die in Colorado? Nick wants to say that Polish is a nationality, not a race. I suppose. There are a lot of different nationalities that get confounded with race, like Israelis and Judaism, just Jewish people in general. Also, where I grew up, people actually talked about the Mexican race, and they were proud of La Raza, and Mexico is a country, not not a race of people. But you know, they had pride. So okay, Pluto Coffins wants to turn the punchline into something about the number of people that died in that theater. Okay, okay. Ari says too soon. I mean, they did just have a Joker movie, right? I was afraid. I was like, really, Misty? We're gonna go see one movie in a theater this freaking year, and it's got to be the Joker. You know, Jen said that she watched The Nun in the theater. I think we watched it at home. Anyways, I wasn't really paying attention to a lot of what was going on in politics, and you guys are still like stuck on politics when I haven't said a word about it. You guys are throwing in the Clintons and Biden earlier in your chat, and I wonder if you're ever going to let me get away from politics for a day, you know, because sometimes I look at the state that things are at, and I don't think that it's appropriate to just have a show talking about politics every day because you kind of have to wait to see how things play out before you have some new opinions on things. Poseidon says, "What if the outbreak is stopped after the plague is done with major cities? The Democrats are screwed." Um, that's not how you know these viruses work. They don't like check your voter registration to decide whether or not to infect you. They check whether or not you take things seriously when scientists are talking. And if you are the kind of person who says that you are washed in the blood of Jesus so you can't get the virus, and you are going to a church where 1,000 people are attending, well, I'm just saying you're not paying attention to science. And I know that it's kind of an overgeneralization to say that no Republicans are paying attention to scientists because yes, they do, especially political scientists. But sometimes I think they listen and then they just disagree because of their feelings. Their opinions matter more than the facts that they're hearing. So, um, but there are some that are the exception, you know, and I will give you that. But generally speaking, I think there's a lot more Republicans who deny science than there are Democrats. At least deny in the way that's going to get them killed. You know, I did just see talking about Democrats who deny science. I did just see that Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop got its own show on Netflix because I was scrolling through Netflix to find anything to watch but the Tiger fucking King. I don't want to see that show. Poseidon says he wants me to wake up that Biden is toast. Yeah, I don't have any hope that people dying in droves will make people very passionate about electing Biden over Trump. Like, if it were Sanders over Trump, then you could see, hey, maybe if we had universal health care, things would be different. You could at least make the argument that. But when it's Biden versus Trump, it's like he's not that much different. That it would have made any difference in his approach to things. We'd like to think that because he would be able to understand uh, the science behind it, that he would act differently. But I think he would also probably have a wait and see response and delay the actions that he needed to take long enough to keep the economy running for one more fucking week and then get us all fucking killed just the same. It's really just a matter of like, I think if Biden were president instead of Trump these last 4 years, and that like during this pandemic, if Biden were looking at the numbers, I think we would have had a mandatory stay at home order maybe a week or two before Trump started saying we need to social distance and all that. So, I think he still would have squandered the better part of 2 months of notice, you know, just worried that a bad economy would mean that he wouldn't get reelected. He's a politician after all, you know. I don't give him that much credit. But how far we have come from when Trump said, "Oh, it's only 15 people that are sick. Soon it'll be zero, and this thing will go away." And now we have about 11,000 people dead. Dead. And about all like by the end of this week, we'll have over 500,000 people confirmed infected. You know, and right now we're sitting at 11 shy of 11,000 people dead. I just checked the numbers again. Pluto is asking me if I am down to do a live stream with him. um, yeah, like right now, like right now. Like I'm doing this one. Do you want me to go to some other live stream, like right now, on your channel? Principled Uncertainty, who is among all of the other YouTubers in the Trolled by Tommy Club, in good company as well. Um, he says that Biden attacked Trump for banning flights from China. Okay, um, that was bad. You know, uh, there should have been a lockdown of flights from all over. We're talking international and domestic. There should have been a lockdown a lot sooner. And anyone, including Biden, who criticized moves like that would be in the wrong because what we're seeing now is chaos. So Pluto says if you want to, I guess, now I meant on your channel though, but I'm down for whenever. Whenever is right now, Pluto. So Jump on Twitter and give me how I'm going to connect to you, and we're just going to put your voice on this stream somehow, some way. I'm pulling up my Twitter DMs, and I'm waiting for how I'm going to be bringing you in. I'll call you on Facebook. I will call you on your freaking phone. I will bring up uh, my Discord if that's the way you want to do it. We'll get you in this right now. My my Twitter DMs. Skype. Skype sounds good. We can do Skype. I got Skype right here. Poseidon says the DNC's insane choice to still hold primaries, despite medical warnings of infected thousands of Democrats. I need to give Poseidon that one, right? I am left leaning, but if Bernie today were to say, look, I'm dropping out because if I stay in, thousands of people will die because they will all congregate at the polling places, and I cannot have that on my conscience. I would fucking understand. I so would. He's behind in the polls. He's behind in the delegate count. You know, he'd have to really, really work hard to pull it out. Pluto, I'm refreshing my Twitter, looking for your message for Skype. I think, you know, I don't even know that Joe Biden ever wanted to win the presidency anyway. He's losing his mind. It would be a really great way for him to bow out to say, if we keep having these primaries, millions of people might die. So I'm out. You know, if Bernie did it, I would understand too. If any of them were like, you know what, let's just have a little coronation of our nominee and not even fucking have a democratic process and just like let's just accept the mail-in ballots and not even have a real election on in November, even though Trump might win. You know, Trump winning at this point, you know, it's not going to stop millions of people dying if somebody else wins because this virus is everywhere and half of our country doesn't listen to reason. Pluto says, I tweeted you, but it wouldn't let me DM you for some reason. Okay, hold on. Now DM me. That's some reason, in case any of you are wondering, is you have to follow each other on Twitter for DMs to happen. Poseidon says Joe Rogan destroyed Biden on a show. I haven't heard Joe Rogan's latest podcasts, but they will be coming up as I'm putting notes into the computer, just like when I was watching WrestleMania. Well, holy shit. You don't want to do this on Skype, huh? Okay. Here we go. I'll just call you.
What's up?
Hey, what's going on?
Nothing much. I'm just bored out of my mind watching your. I mean, not because of your live stream, but I'm watching your live stream at one in the morning, and I figured I'd come on. So I am,
Awesome.
and here I am. But yeah, Bernie has like absolutely no fucking chance against Trump. He's just like a worse version of Hillary, honestly.
Um, yeah, and people who are voting for Bernie right now, they're looking for concessions, like anything for him to modify his platform in order to win over their vote, and he ain't gonna do it.
Yeah, like Medicare for all or whatever.
Yeah.
Or like picking Bernie as a VP. That would help. Or
You
even
know,
like Tulsi Gabbard or someone like that.
yeah, Tulsi would work, Warren would work, Bernie would work, but you know, Clinton could have picked Bernie and won if she had used him
That's true.
as a VP. That would have been one way for her to gain all of his supporters.
Well, Hillary did win the popular vote, but
Yeah.
Trump obviously won the electoral vote.
Poseidon is hoping that you're not going to be boring like Phantom Lion.
I'm not gonna be bored for what?
You're not going to be boring like Phantom Lion, right?
Oh yeah, no, I'm very, very, very boring.
Okay. What do you do for a living?
No, I mean I don't know what I am. He'll have his own opinion of me, I guess.
Uh, what do you do for a living?
I work at a fast food place. I used to work at a grocery store, and I make YouTube videos occasionally, but they don't make any money.
Are you underneath the new cap where you can't make any money off of them?
I used to be like my channel used to be monetized, but like I didn't post on it for like 3 years. Like you made that one video like a long time ago about me getting flagged.
Yeah.
But then like I haven't posted in so long, haven't gotten any views or watch time in so long that the monetization was turned off. Your this stream's a lot better than Brett King's stream. I was on his earlier today.
I should jump on Brett Keen's stream. I have his phone number too.
Yeah, dude, I have his Discord, and I asked him for an interview, and he went on my channel and started posting a bunch of you know how he is.
Mm-hmm.
And then I get on his stream, and he starts calling me a bunch of names, and I'm like, "Hey, Brett, why are you a faggot?" And then he was like, "You know what? You're mean to me, and I'm banning you." So I'm like, "Oh, okay." But yeah, it was funny.
Ouch.
Yeah, he keeps coming on my channel and like posting comments on my videos. Like, I'm gonna flag you for this. I'm gonna do this, and I'm like, "All right, Brett, you do you." But nothing's happened.
So, you're working in a restaurant. Is that restaurant able to do enough takeout orders to stay alive?
We are more busy than we have been in months.
Wow.
Like you would not believe how many people are getting fast food. Even like other places, because like we're like our fast food places in the center of town, right next to all the fucking other fast food places, and everywhere is just fucking busy.
I've
Grocery
seen the
stores are
opposite
like
happen
busy 30
too.
bucks a day, huh?
I've seen the opposite happen. So
The what?
there's a Subway that I know of where
Yeah.
they're basically barely getting enough orders to pay the salary of the guy who's working there.
What the fuck? That's crazy.
Yeah, and
I guess it's different in different parts of the country, but around here, like fast food is booming.
So Subway, I know them for being like the cheapest franchise that you could possibly uh, get into and like start up a store. Like it's the cheapest
How much
startup
is it?
costs of all the different franchises you could possibly have.
What's it sandwiches
Yeah. And
and
so for
chips?
them to be doing poor, it's bad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've heard of like people are attacking doctors and shit for like thinking that they're like spreading the disease. My friend Jeremiah, I have a new podcast and he's on it with me. We just get a little high and drunk and we talk. But
Hmm.
he's out of work now because his thing's like non-essential and he's getting no money in. He filed for unemployment, but you know like that's they have like a million new people now. Like that's gonna fucking happen. And then that check that's supposed to come in the 1,200 or whatever, like that's gonna fucking happen. So he's kind of fucked. But yeah, it's crazy. This pandemic shit is. I didn't think it was gonna be anything, but it really has turned out to be something.
Hmm. Uh,
I
in
mean,
my
but I've been living my life like normal. I've been going outside. I've been getting fast food like everyone else.
in
You
my
know.
line of work, I've run into people that they're counselors and they're having a lot of their individual counseling sessions. They're just like ghosting them. They're not showing up because they know that pretty soon times are going to be tough and they're not going to have the money, so they don't want to pay their
Yeah.
copay.
Yeah. Exactly. That's kind of awful.
Yeah, and in particular, my biggest gig right now is I do DUI therapy. So there's a really huge incentive because these people can't drive unless they're doing their therapy groups. You know, they'll have their driver's license taken away, and so
So wait, are they like okay? So these people they have their driver's licenses. They had DUIs in the past, but now they have their driver's licenses
mhm,
and they have jobs or whatever that they need their car to get to. Are they
yeah.
showing up for these therapy sessions or not?
So we went telehealth. So they're
What's
showing up
that?
online to these sessions,
Right.
but there's a lot of people who have not mandated clients. You know, clients who are just looking to better themselves and who came in of their own accord with a self referral. And those type of clients are just ghosting their therapist right now. So if there's no like probation or parole officer telling you to go to therapy, or no, you know, we're going to take your
Oh,
driver's
so
license
for the
away.
people who actually need it.
Yeah, the people who are just trying to better their lives, they're like,
Right.
you know, I might need to buy some food.
That's fucked up.
So
That
yeah,
check needs to come in quicker. Didn't they? I thought they passed it, so I don't. What's the holdup? I guess sending a check to all Americans, not
yeah.
easy paperwork. But yeah, people aren't people already starting to get evicted?
Uh, they're working on eviction protections through this, and they're also considering uh, giving people like 180 days of protection against uh, their mortgage being foreclosed on because of debt.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're looking at a lot of different things that they're going to have to do if people can't work.
You mentioned earlier in your stream that you didn't want to see Tiger King. Why
Yeah.
not?
Uh, what just
It's pretty good. I only saw like 30 minutes of it or whatever, and it's like a series or something.
yeah.
My friend Jeremiah showed me, but it was pretty good from what I saw. It was pretty funny too.
I don't want to see a parody of white people, like
Yeah,
a
that's
real
true.
life professional wrestler type stereotype of a person. You know, I don't really want to watch Joe Dirt for real.
Yeah, he does kind of look like Joe Dirt.
Yeah, but I have heard that part of it is like a murder mystery, And
Yeah,
so Misty loves murder mysteries, so we might end up watching it just for that.
you should. Do you know a little bit about the murder mystery thing?
No.
She apparently fed her husband to tigers. The guy that the Joe Dirt guy. What's his name? His name is Joe Exotic. He like really hates this woman named Carol Baskins. They both like have animals. One's like a refuge, and the other one's like a show place. Um, and Carol Baskins fed her husband to a tiger allegedly.
But not the Tiger King. Tiger King went to
No,
jail for it or
not the.
something.
It's in the Tiger King documentary,
Hmm.
but it's not Joe Exotic. He did not do that. Carol Baskins, which is like it's like TJ's Brett Keane, like they're sworn enemies. Carol Baskins is his sworn enemy. She apparently fed her husband to a tiger.
Hmm.
That's what got me to like click on it. I wasn't too sure about it either.
Poseidon has left our chat saying that we are boring. I think
Damn,
I think what
we did
happens
not.
though, it's not that you're boring, right? This is the best conversation I've had all day, even though it's like one of the
Nah, she
only,
said
right?
he's petty or something.
But what happens is,
He just can't chill with us, you know, and that's on him.
yeah. Well, what happens is that they're looking for me to be watching the chat and interacting with the chat. That's the type of subscriber that they are.
Right, because
They're wanting
they
to
like
interact, and there are so many live
they get off
streams.
on it every time you mention them. They like get a little tickle, you know.
Yeah, and there are so many live streams where you just cannot get attention from the person who's streaming.
Oh
And
yeah, it's like you're answering someone's question and then 20 comments go by.
yeah,
Like I used to do live streams a few years ago. I only did like 10 of them, but yeah, there'd be like I'd only have like 5 people in my live stream, and there'd be like 10 questions that pop up, and I'd only get to 2 of them. But yeah, and then they disappear so quickly. People don't understand that.
yeah.
What
Nick's
are the
saying
comments
stop eating
saying?
your fingers, and I just showed the screen that I got these like peanut butter chips that I'm eating, like the things that you'd put in cookies,
Yeah,
you know.
like Nutter Butter.
Well, basically they're like chocolate chips, only they're peanut butter.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I get you. Those things are good.
Kip Drordy wants your attention. He said give it to him.
All right, you have my attention. I can't see or hear you or know anything about you, but you got my attention, bud. What's up?
And Terrence says that you're better than COVID Lion.
I'm better than COVID Lion. I guess that's a brag. I'm
Yeah.
not sure. It's kind of like lately it's been a bad time to do YouTube again, even though I'm just starting up again. I mean, I have all my old videos and everything, but because like it's been so slow with news lately. It's just this COVID-19 shit, and it's honestly everybody already knows about it, and it's boring.
I agree, and also, uh, even if it's not boring, it hits this nerve of I've heard too
Yeah,
much about COVID-19. I don't want to hear any more about it.
yeah, I think that's it. Maybe not that it's boring because whenever I first started hearing about it, I wanted to hear about it, but
Mm-hmm.
I've heard too much about it, and it's like the Trump thing. Like Trump was on the news so much that everybody got sick of seeing Trump, and then he could do shit underneath the radar.
Yeah. Well, I know people know about social distancing, but then you could also do media distancing and be like, okay, uh, just a couple minutes in the morning so I know what the numbers are and I know what the latest news is, and then just shut it off
Yeah,
because
yeah, that makes sense.
it makes your health a lot better. Now, for me, I can't.
Your mental health, yeah.
I cannot do media distancing that well because I do group therapy and it
Right.
gets hijacked by news topics that are really big, and there's nothing bigger than coronavirus.
Yeah, it's like it's the biggest news story of this decade that just started.
So, uh, prior to that, in this same year, like since January, there was a possible war with Iran that it was like so serious one day that like that's all I had people wanting to talk about in a group. And the next week, I'm like, seems like we were all worried for nothing because there's this war
Yeah.
with Iran that has not happened, you know. But
But this
before that, it
COVID
was
19
Australia on
keeps
fire.
happening.
People just wanted to talk about burning koalas.
Like people were burning koalas.
No, like koalas on fire because Australia is on fire,
Oh,
right?
right, because of the fires down there. But you meant literal people were burning koalas.
No, but people were just sad that the world was falling apart and Australia's on fire and it's because of global warming and they just wanted to talk about it.
We're
And
like people don't talk about it a lot, but in Brazil, that guy, their new dictator or whatever the fuck he is, prime minister, um, he's like cutting down the Amazon rainforest, like a bunch of it, and
mhm,
that's like the lungs of the earth. People say,
they are.
yeah, the biggest rainforest.
hmm So I think that
And what do you usually make videos on? I've
what
seen your channel a little bit, but I don't, typically stop in. I saw that you were live streaming, so I clicked in. I
lately
think you
it
got a lot
all
of
has been
abandoned,
about coronavirus.
abandoned houses shit, and I think that's really cool. I always like going into abandoned houses.
Yeah, I like doing it too, and this is the season that we were going to start back up and do that. But guess what?
Yeah,
Stay at home to save lives.
yeah.
I got my camera ready to go. It's all charged up and nowhere to go.
I mean, as long as you don't like see anyone, you know what I mean. It'd be cool. Do some like local stuff.
Yeah. Um, I usually like to do at least half of my videos things that I want to do that nobody else wants to see me doing. Like, pay no attention to the fact that there is a crowd with taste. Just do whatever it is that you want to do, right?
Yeah,
And
because it's just a hobby to you. It's
yeah,
not like you're not TJ Kirk. You know what I mean?
hmm
Yeah. I like to make videos like about what I like to make videos on. Sometimes I'll make a video that I know, well, this one will get a little more attention. Um, but mainly I just try to make the videos I want to make. I feel like that's the way you should do it. Like otherwise, like what are you even doing this for?
so those people who are doing it for money, like they've gotten to this point where their actual income is them being a YouTuber. Completely,
Yeah,
it traps them in a topic that if they wake up
yeah,
that morning and don't want to talk about that topic, they're going to destroy the fact that they have that opportunity to have their job be YouTuber, right? And
yeah,
that's as a horrible edit social justice warrior like me. Even I realize that the reason why some of the vitriol against social justice warriors got so bad is because it was monetized. And so you get
And they get a
channels
shit
that,
ton of
like, as
play.
soon as they get on that topic and all of their audience members want to hear them talk about that same topic over and over again, they just go out looking for targets to talk about, you know.
Yeah, TJ said something about in one of his videos, like once he stopped making anti-SJW videos, he does occasionally now, but he more or less stopped. But he said he felt like he was in like a loop or a cycle or something because that's what his fans wanted. That's what he posted, and it lasted for years. And he felt like he hadn't really accomplished that much in that amount of time. He felt like he had said his argument again and again and again, and that it was said and done for like a long time before he quit making videos like that. So I definitely see it, and with other YouTubers too that popped up during that time frame, like me, like Chris Raygon, like you know,
Yeah.
Charming Man 93.
And of those, Mitch being the least popular of them, and I actually like Mitch the most.
Yeah, I like him too.
Yeah.
He was the first guy that ever gave me a shout out. He's actually a pretty cool guy. He's pretty decent, and he's very like soft spoken and what's the word? He's coherent.
Somebody in that chat, quit talking about abandoned porn and make sure that you tell Mitch that we were talking shit about him, and then we started saying that he was a nice guy.
He's the lowest rated one of these
Yeah,
people.
because you
He's
can't
really
talk about
cool.
people without them being there, without somebody saying, "Hey, did you hear that they were talking about you?" Because there's different roles people play here on YouTube. Some of them listen to be able to chat and get me to read the chat, but some people listen just to wait for that one little word that you say wrong so they can make a little ponage video that's like a minute long. Out of my whole hour long stream, they'll pick out that one part that, out of context especially, will look very wrong that I said, you know.
Yeah, I like it, I do cover other people's videos and I make response videos, but I like to cover the whole video. I don't like to cut out little bits and chunks. I feel that's dishonest.
The most dishonest, I think, is when they put in my chat, things that they want me to read because they're looking to make a montage of me saying things that I wouldn't normally say. And then
They
when
could just do that with the regular footage, though.
they could, except for I don't talk about that topic. So if I
Yeah.
see it in the chat, Kip Drorty says Islam is peace, the clip will come out saying just Islam is peace. And then, they'll keep on clipping off the fact that I'm reading what they're saying. So then they could get me to say pretty much anything if they just put it down there in the chat. Uh, Principled Uncertainty says, just as every Discord has a spy. Not every
Every
Discord.
Discord has a spy.
I'm sure my
Like,
Discord
what,
does.
different communities?
Yeah, every internet community has a spy.
Damn. People take this internet thing way too seriously.
Yeah. Yeah, they do.
Also, Happy Cabby is dead. Maya sees dragon.
I'm pretty sure she knows.
Oh. I was just gonna say, like, why are you referencing this man? Like, how long has it been? 4 years? Something like that? I don't know.
Well, people are pretty certain that they took Sargon of Akkad's sperm from a discarded condom and then made a butt baby inside of Happy Cabby's butt, and then out popped
Oh,
me. So they like to
that makes sense.
You think it makes sense? That's racist.
Not the butt part, but I see the logic in it. You know,
Okay.
I
It's
feel like Happy Cabby and Sargon of Akkad's mother or his wife or someone, they like got together and that created you. It's like that whole butt thing don't work.
I was a test tube butt baby. I've read it in the chat. And by the way, it's not racist, but that's going to be my new catchphrase for 2020 is to call everything that's not racist racist. Just so that they can take me out of context and say, "Oh, he thinks this is racist now."
You should just make videos like
Yeah.
ice cream cones are racist.
Calling me a test tube butt baby of two other fat guys is racist.
That is racist.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like bodyist.
Did you just say bodyist?
Yeah, dude, they're making fun of your body, bro.
I think you might be on a different level of SJW than me. Like, I need to buy the
No, I don't actually believe
like I got
that.
the starter kit. I need the advanced set so I can understand like the larger world of isms
Well,
because
like if you're
body.
discriminating someone based on eye color,
Well, I
that is
think in the
known as
back
an
it said
eye.
something about body shaming, but it never called the person who does the body shaming a bodyist.
Oh no, dude, people have like specific kinks and specific discriminations based on body parts. There's a whole world on it. You should go on DeviantArt. I don't know.
You know, the fact that we don't have a laugh track makes a lot of our jokes fall flat.
That's why I give the stoner laugh at the end, you know,
Uh-huh.
so they know when to laugh.
I have this horrible dry British humor, and it's very easy to take me out of context because I'm always joking. All the time.
Yeah, yeah, I'm always joking too, but my humor can be like wide range. It can be like silly. It can be like British humor. It can be like slapstick, whatever.
So Bugsy says that he's around here for my abandoned place adventures.
Abandoned porn.
Yeah, abandoned porn. All those old houses that I film going
Oh
to.
yeah. No, those videos are cool.
So
Bet you get different people watching your channel with them.
so Misty finds these places. Some of them
Misty is your
through
wife,
her.
right?
Huh?
Misty is your wife,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. She's downstairs asleep in bed. And so she finds these places and she marks them on the map um, where we're going to go. So she's got like a Google Maps map with all these little pins that are dropped everywhere. And so there's this like grid of pin drops through the whole state. So like no matter
Yeah.
which way we turn, there's some place that she wants to investigate because it could be abandoned.
Damn, that's a little much, but damn, I love the enthusiasm. You know,
Well,
you gotta go. No, it's cool. You gotta like go investigate it, see if it's really abandoned.
yeah. And so there are like cues to whether or not it's abandoned as you're pulling up to it. And there's also cues like just looking overhead with Google Maps.
Yeah,
So you know that the ruts in the road that like tires will like grind into a dirt road, right?
yeah.
So there's this patch of grass that will grow in between the two ruts,
So
right?
then that's how you can tell a place is abandoned.
So if that grass has grown up to the point where you can tell that no car has gone down that
Right,
in a very,
right.
very long time, there's a good chance it's abandoned.
And then you'll just drive to these places and see. And if they are abandoned, you'll just get out your camera and whip it out
Yeah.
and just start recording.
Well, that's
That's
one.
that's
That's
honestly
one
really
clue.
cool.
That's one clue. The other clues
Yeah,
are like seeing damage on the roof.
yeah.
You
Because
know.
no one wants a leaky fucking roof. No one's living underneath a leaky roof.
Yeah. But she's also a member of like urban exploration clubs and stuff like that. So they chat a lot. And right now they're not doing a lot because they're not out there. So urban exploration, it's weird. Here's a an actually racist thing. Um, we're not burglars. We're white people with cameras.
Yeah, but you are break. Yeah, I can see the logic and that if you were black, someone would probably be like, "What's this black person breaking into this house doing?" But again, I'm not sure like anyone would get caught doing it.
So like we bring our dogs with us, and seriously, like all white people have to do is say, we're just looking for a place to walk our dogs and give them some exercise.
Right? Yeah, that's funny.
You know,
Um,
and a whole bunch of people
sometimes,
are learning our tricks now because the governor said walking your dog is an essential thing that you're allowed to
yeah.
do,
No,
and now everyone's
I
going to
did
have a
this
dog.
before. I did this before it was an essential thing, or before this whole COVID-19 thing was. But
Hmm.
whenever I wanted to go outside and like smoke a joint and like walk like that, bring my dog with me, so I have an excuse for being like, what if someone stopped me or whatever? Like, what are you doing out here? Like, I'm just walking my dog, you know.
So I'm going to give out a gift to somebody in the chat right now. I think this is going to go to Nick
Is
Bravo.
a gift just giving them your attention?
No, no, I actually mail actual gifts to people, right?
Damn, yeah, that's
All
cool.
the paintings that you see behind me, they usually just like get put in envelopes and mailed to people.
That's really cool.
So this one is actually a mouse pad. It says "Glorious PC Gaming Master Race," and then it's got a little guy right here. It says "Dirty Console Peasant," right? And so I'm gonna put this in this box that I'm mailing to Nick Bravo.
Yeah, he seems to be pretty loyal to you.
What?
Been here since ever since I've been here. First guy to comment since I've gotten in here. But you play video games?
I do.
You have a
I
PC game,
consider
I'm
myself
assuming.
a former video game addict, so I don't like to get too
Yeah, me too.
involved.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I'd like from the moment I got up to the second I went to bed, I was playing video games.
So
They're just so fun. They're fun. They're addicting. They're interactive. It's got everything going for it.
yeah, I spent a lot of time on EverQuest, EverQuest 2, and World of Warcraft, and before that, Mud games that were just
Never
text
played any
based.
of those things. I've heard a bunch of horror stories about people playing World of Warcraft too much.
Yeah, that was me. That was how I got
Don't
fat.
be too harsh.
And so, yeah, around 2010, I stopped playing MMO games, and it's been like 10 years.
You played
And
Skyrim and stuff, though, right?
what?
Skyrim,
No,
Oblivion,
I've never played Skyrim. My brother showed
What
me
is?
Skyrim, and he had a room full of cheese.
Yes, yes, that yes, yes.
Yeah,
It's
and
very normal.
I just wanted to know why people were talking about an arrow to the knee.
It's because I used to be an adventurer like you until one day, I got hit with an arrow in the knee, and I became a Whiterun guard. You gotta play it, dude. It's really good. Like, honestly, if you love World of Warcraft and MMOs, you'll love this game. I promise you. Storyline's Gameplay's pretty good. Some of the quests are really cool. Like, there's an Assassin's Guild, a Thieves Guild. You can be a wizard. You can be a fighter. You fight dragons. Its predecessors are better. I wouldn't say Oblivion, the game before it's better, but the game before that is amazing. Morrowind. It's got the best story ever, but the gameplay's lacking because it was made in 2002. So yeah, you should check it out, dude. If you play video games, really good.
So my favorite video game ever was actually PlanetSide 1. I was really
Never
good
played
at
that
it.
either.
It was a first-person shooter.
You like online shit then?
Yeah, I like online shit, and I like PvP because
Yeah,
it's harder to kill a real person in a video game than it is
then
to
fuck.
kill bots and PCs. So, PlanetSide 1, um, it was half MMO game and half first person shooter. And
Yeah,
there was like a leveling system in it and all that. But it was not pay to win. PlanetSide 2 got to the point where, like, I have a really good gaming rig. My
right,
rig is for processing YouTube videos, right? And
right.
and I'm broadcasting through OBS right now on a live stream, right?
Just a side note though, I make all my YouTube videos on my phone.
They are very powerful computers, those little hand computers.
Yeah, they are. But I mean, I'm just saying, I'm envying that PC you have. Because
So I've got this
I do not
PC.
have a gaming PC. I'm a
It's
console peasant. I have 3 Xboxes,
uh,
like the original through one, and I also have a Raspberry Pi that plays Nintendo through N64 games.
well, as good as my computer is, there are some motherfuckers that are either cheating or they are just so much better at first person shooter games than me now that I suck and I can't get any fun out of the games. I tried to play uh, Fortnite, sorry, Fortnite, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
in 3 or 4 rounds, I couldn't kill a single person.
No, I'm the same way. Whenever I'm playing one of the multiplayer games, like if I'm playing this game for like a week straight, nonstop, and I'm getting all that practice, eventually I'll be able to kill some people. But
Yeah.
I'm never that good. I'm always getting killed all the time. Barely get any kills. Yeah, I suck at that kind of shit.
So I
Although
picked
I really like Battlefield 1's PvP. I've gotten really good at that.
I picked the rocket launcher in Fortnite, shoot the rocket, it hits a person dead in the face, and they still don't die.
And didn't kill him?
And it didn't kill them. And then I get shot with like a handgun at like a sniper distance, and I die.
Yeah, so people are just fucking with you then.
Well,
That doesn't make any sense. You
it
ever
was
played
game after
PUBG?
game after game, and the only way I finally got my first kill was they go with seasons in that game, and in that season it was like Santa was there, and he
Yeah,
uses a biplane, and you could find the biplane and get in it and fly, and the biplane had a gun
right.
on it, and that gun was overpowered, and so I could finally kill people with that gun with the biplane if I could find that. But all the
So
regular
you
guns
just
in the
needed
game,
the special gun of the season to kill anyone and have any fun in the game whatsoever. That just
yeah.
sounds like bullshit. I downloaded Fortnite, never really got around to playing it because it it just didn't look that fun to me.
Well, it's also like other people had
And it's
leveled
kid
up their
oriented.
character.
There's like a bunch of little 12-year-olds screaming faggot on it.
Yeah. Well, if somebody has so much of an advantage after playing for a long time where they built up like armor and have better weapons and stuff, when people come into the game fresh and everybody else has all of the gadgets, then
There's just no way you can compete.
there's no way to compete. Yeah. So it really makes the game frustrating. So when Planet Side 2 came out, same thing. I thought that my computer must be like broken or something,
Right.
but it seemed like
Because you're
I
just
just
getting
could
killed
not
so
get a
much.
kill.
You're like, what the fuck is wrong? Is there something wrong with my
Yeah,
processing? Yeah.
like target dead at their head, like straight headshot with a sniper rifle, could not get a kill. So
I mean, I've had that shit happen on games, but it's like rare. You know, it'll be like that shot definitely hit that guy, but he's not dead. You know, so like,
well,
what was up with that Planet Side 2 thing? Was it just like glitchy or did it have
no,
bugs?
it was like I felt like everybody must be using some sort of cheat bot that made them
Right,
like
right. So they're
immune
hacking into
to
the game. Yeah.
bullets. And I was the only one
But
who wasn't cheating.
why would they even do that? That makes it not even a game at that point. Not for the person playing. I mean, that just means you're just running around killing people, gaining points.
Yeah, I
That's
wasn't
retarded,
streaming
dude.
how
There's no
frustrated I
challenge to
was.
that. Like, you're honestly a coward if you're doing that shit.
It would have been fun for them if they could see how much I was screaming.
Yeah, that's true. That would have been really fun. You ever throw your controller across the room?
Not as an adult.
Not as an adult. I don't think I have as an adult either, but a few years ago when I was 17 at least, I've definitely thrown a controller.
So I got this thing off Wish before coronavirus made it so that I was afraid to buy things from China, right? And
Right.
it's a drone, and I want to send this drone out over the city, over some abandoned places, and then have the drone come back.
Get your recon in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that'd be cool.
yeah, I'm.
You're getting more like CIA with this shit, you know? You're on Google Maps looking at shit. Now you got a drone scoping out areas. Feel
Yeah.
like you're trying to rob people. Cops show up and you're like, no, I'm an addiction counselor. Look up my YouTube channel.
No, Misty could just say, "Oh, we were walking our dogs, and the dog got off leash and ran over here, and we had to go get him."
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Oh well, you guys speak with good diction. I think we'll just let you go with a warning."
Yeah. You always do these live streams so late. Why is that?
Okay, so I pour over my homework, right? And I'm in grad school, and so we do these assignments where you have to do first. It's an original post to a discussion thread, and it's due
Yeah.
by midnight, right? And I am
Right.
I am like part procrastinator in this, but also
Right. So you're posting it basically at midnight almost.
yeah. So then right after I post it, I'm like, okay, now I want to start my YouTube stream, and I want to start it on this day rather than the next day. So I'm usually starting it between like 11:50 and midnight,
Yeah.
just to get
That
the
makes
date
sense.
stamp for the day that I want.
Yeah.
But really, it's
Always
because I
wondered
put
why
a lot
though,
of
because
work
I
into
have
that
seen your
homework.
live streams before. I've never got around to commenting to them. I've just clicked in for a minute, popped out, saw what was up. Now
What's your highest level of education?
I graduated high school.
Okay. Are you going to be looking towards higher education?
Um, well, a lot of my teachers told me I should become a history teacher, but as of right now, I mean, I don't really see myself going to college at the moment. Maybe in the future, but not at the moment.
Why not?
I never really liked school. I'd always be skipping it and stuff. So, like, I don't think I'm mature enough to stick with that and have the commitment to go to school, like go to college and get good grades. And, you know, I think whenever I finally get that commitment, that's when I'm going to make the decision to go back to school.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think I run into a lot of different reasons why people don't go for higher education. When your reason is an honest self reflection of, I am actually just not uh, able to do this, then
Yeah.
I respect that. But I can tell you that I believe that you're capable.
You think I'm capable?
Yeah,
Is it just from talking with me?
and watching a couple of your videos.
Oh, yeah.
Hmm.
Thank you. Means a lot, actually.
Nick says
But you
you
do
should be a
believe me. I
forensic
wasn't sure.
scientist.
A lot of people don't.
You don't have a lot of people who are supportive of you.
Uh, Somewhat.
Would you want to be a history teacher?
I really like history, so I could see myself doing it.
Hmm.
But I don't know about dealing with on those kids all day. You know.
I understand that. I have a
Although at a
bachelor's.
certain age group, they get kind of interesting. And that's uh, where it gets my interest. Like, sorry, my dog ran into a door. But like, I don't know, maybe like at the high school level, where I could actually have a conversation with them, or the middle school level.
Jen wants to know what is this guy's YouTube channel. I'm talking to Pluto Coffins. He has been in the
Yeah,
chat.
that's me.
That this is him. He's been in the chat. Just scroll back up and find Pluto Coffins and click on his name.
Oh yeah, and berry blue tunic. Huh, it's in the Urban Dictionary. Pluto didn't make it up. He's referring to the bodiest. Actually, I did make that up in my head, but I'm not surprised that that is a real thing.
Okay.
But I had no prior knowledge of that.
So I have a bachelor's degree in English, and I also cannot stand the thought of trying to teach English to uh, primary school students, mostly because of the respect issues that many of them have. I could not put
Yeah.
myself in that position and feel good about what I was doing for the level of pay that they're giving.
Yeah. Well, and also a lot of kids, like, I mean, I know what they're like. They don't like English because they speak it and they think, well, I know everything about this language and I don't need to know this stuff, so fuck it. And it's more or less a blow off class for a lot of people.
Well, I can tell you that English is fundamental.
Yeah, well, I mean, I 100% agree.
It's helped me to succeed in everything that I like to do.
What other type of hobbies do you have? Do you go fishing?
So there's making YouTube videos, and there's a lot of painting.
Yeah.
If I back up right now in my uh, recliner, uh, hold on. Okay, that one right there will be a Christina Aguilera of a certain time in her life, because even Christina Aguilera doesn't look like Christina Aguilera. So um, right next to her is a Bob Ross Chia Pet in a box. Um, but yeah, I like to paint. I like to
Yeah.
film the process of painting. Uh, I used to play
I was never that good at
guitar.
drawing.
I don't. I've fallen out of playing music.
You fallen out of playing. You used to play music, like you would
Yeah,
play instruments.
yeah. I used to do a lot of music, and it just kind of left me. The passion for it left me.
Yeah. I have a guitar, and I had a passion for playing it until I realized I didn't want to play guitar. But but yeah, no, I get it.
Um, I do a lot of activism. I'm a delegate for political parties. I I like to stay up on different activist movements in the city and go film them for my YouTube channel. But that's not just related to YouTube. I actually like to see the outcomes that happen with certain movements.
Yeah. Yeah, your channel's ancient. You got some like I mean I think I've seen this on your channel. Some like back in 2008, the crash that happened, or 2009.
Hmm.
Um, the Wall Street thing that was going on, the movement.
So that was 2011 was Occupy Wall Street, right?
Yeah.
And
But I remember seeing that on your channel.
yeah,
But yeah,
prior to 2010, I was actually on a different YouTube channel.
you were.
Yeah.
What was it?
So there was one channel that it was started in 2007, that was just uh, mixed in with my family videos, and I had to move all my family videos off of that one.
Right,
But
right.
I
Those were
had a
private. Yeah.
yeah, I had a collective channel, like with other people, and the other person who was running it, his name was Alan. He decided to just delete it in 2010, and that's why I started this channel. Was because he deleted the channel that we were uh, trying to build, because he had a problem with depression, and every so often he
So
would,
he just went up and deleted the channel.
yeah, like all the content that was on it just deleted, disappeared, and that
Is it?
channel.
Was he in the videos?
What?
Was your friend in the videos?
No, there were videos from a whole bunch of different people. He was in some of them. I was in some of them.
Yeah.
So it was like
That's
a,
messed up though.
yeah.
I mean, I get, honestly, I get why, if you're in that mindset, why you would feel the need to delete something like that. But you can't do that. That's not right.
Well, that's when I decided that I was not going to be on a channel that I would be risking uh, having someone delete all the content, right? So then years
Right.
later, after I had already built up the Agent of Doubt channel, he wanted me to be on a different collective channel called Whovians USA. And it was just talking about different episodes of Doctor Who.
So like a
And
podcast format type of thing. Do you like Doctor Who?
I did. And so it wasn't really like a podcast. It was like each day a different person would talk about their reaction to the latest episode of Doctor Who.
Where they would shoot it?
each person would shoot their own video and talk about the
Right.
video and talk about the latest episode. So,
Oh, okay. So
and
you're
we
like
all
giving
would
a
upload
review of
it
all the stuff.
ourselves. And what happened was the same thing at a certain point, like cyclically. My friend Alan, he got uh, really depressed, and he wanted to do self harm by deleting all the videos off of that channel.
And I'm assuming this channel is no longer around, and he did that.
It could be up in a different form, but
Yeah,
it
like
really
someone probably
angered
took it down.
everyone there. I'm checking right now.
I'll offer PB and J to the chat, by the way.
I have no idea what he's talking about.
Peanut butter jelly, dude.
Yeah, but what does that mean?
Oh, it's like a sandwich.
No, I think the Reddit uh, for PewDiePie, it got taken
Yeah.
over by peanut butter and jelly a couple weeks ago, and I have no idea what the originator of the meme meant by it. Like, what does this movement mean? I don't know.
I don't know either, but maybe it's because like we're in the coronavirus shit and no one's got money, so we're all gonna be eating PB and J.
Yeah.
I have no idea. It's all up to speculation at this point.
So, 8 years ago now is when he deleted like all the content off the channel, right? And then the rest
Yeah.
of us saved the channel by changing the password on it. So we had the subscribers, but we had no content on the channel. And then for a while, people tried to make the channel work after that. But after losing all of that content, everyone just kind of like got sad and stopped doing it.
Yeah, I mean, as you would after someone deletes all of your hard work. Honestly, I wouldn't even come back. I wouldn't make another video for that channel.
Well,
That's why my channel. I've had a few other YouTube channels in the past. I used to have a Christian YouTube channel, where I made Christian videos when I was like, I don't know, 13 or something. And then eventually I came around to atheism by watching The Amazing Atheist and others. But yeah, I used to post videos like that. I don't know where I was going with that. But anyways, I like to keep my channels to myself because I don't want anyone else fucking with my videos or deleting them or doing whatever, just messing with my channel.
So the thing is, in order to keep that channel safe, the videos that were uploaded on it after he went on his deleting spree and went depressed and all that, um, the new people who were running the channel didn't share him the password, so it was safe from another depressed deletion attack like that, right?
Right. So he doesn't have the password. He can't delete it.
Yeah, but
But he
even
can still
then,
appear on the channel if you'd like to.
yeah, even then, we were kind of, it was a blow. Like it depressed us all that we lost all that content. So
Yeah.
yeah, and this was before uh, it was really easy to back your own stuff up. Videos took a lot
Yeah.
of space on your computer, and so you upload them to YouTube so that you could delete all that space and make another video. So
Yeah.
I didn't have
I
a
have
lot of
like
copies of
2 podcasts and 8 videos on my phone right now.
yeah.
So yeah, exactly. Like yeah.
So I didn't have any of the Casper's Tube videos except for like three, and there were like 40 different videos that I did for that channel. And then for Hoovians USA, I have no idea how many of them I made, but I can see uh, a video I made 7 years ago was like the last video I made on that channel.
Why didn't you post your video for that channel on that channel and also your Agent is Out channel? You know, that way you have or you could even if they were like, well, we don't want it to be public on the Agent is Out channel, you could put it private or something.
Um, I could have done that. I just didn't.
I mean, I guess you didn't think about it at the time. I'm
Yeah,
just in hindsight,
I
you know.
have I have another channel just for archiving videos too. It's
Yeah,
now it's called AOD Archive. And so like if I have a video that gets like a copyright claim that I just don't want that claim on my main channel, I take it off and put it on my archive channel and let that channel get the copyright claim hits.
yeah, that's a good idea. I have all my videos. Well, I don't have all of them up now, but like I said, I have 8 downloaded.
Hmm.
One's a new one, and the rest are all old ones. But I'm uploading them slowly but surely to Vimeo and Dailymotion so that I have them forever. I used to have a backup channel too, but eventually I just got rid of it. I have one backup channel right now, but I don't use it for anything.
Hmm.
Do you ever have any drama with anybody in the olden days of YouTube?
Yeah, yeah, I did. Um, you were just on Brett Keene's show earlier today. Uh,
Yeah,
when
for a split
when
second.
Brett Keene and Happy Cabby were friends, I had a little bit of a falling out with Happy Cabby. And if you
Yeah,
went to his Encyclopedia Dramatica listing, you can read all about it. And strangely, like Encyclopedia Dramatica sometimes puts a lot of jokes in stuff, and you can't really trust what they're saying
right.
because they're not like the best historians. But for that one part of his Encyclopedia Dramatica article that mentions me, it's all accurate. It's exactly
Yeah,
how they wrote
so
it.
I should. I've been on Encyclopedia Dramatica before. I don't think I've read Happy Cabby's page. I just read Brett Keene's and T.J. Kirk's.
Yeah. So I had a falling out with him. Uh,
So you like Brett Keene or nah? Because the consistency is nah.
what I have to say about Brett Keane is I understand the internet
Yeah,
from the perspective of like I've been doing this for 10 years on this channel and longer on other channels, right? And
right.
I feel like the reason Brett Keane is the way he is has a lot to do with the way we are to him, right? There's
Yeah, yeah, I can see that. There's so many people going into his chat room and trolling.
yeah.
And when I went in there today, I just wanted to do what we're doing right now, but he doesn't think very highly of me, so he just kicked me off immediately. But yeah, well, he didn't kick me off immediately, but he started, calling me names and cursing at me immediately. So I got pissed and I said something to him, and then he kicked me off. But yeah, I don't know what. Cause I guess I have videos on my channel that are about him, but I guess that pisses him off.
Hmm. I don't have videos on my channel about him. That might piss him off
So
too.
you're good in his eyes then.
No, no, because I've by certain YouTubers and him in particular, I've been asked before, "Hey, could you put a word in for this or that?" You know, and my
Yeah,
content is my content. We all have our own YouTube channels. If you need to say something, you say it on your channel.
right.
You know, and there are some people who, in order to find out if you're a good friend of theirs, or in order to try to use your clout on YouTube to get a little bit more clout themselves, they'll ask you to put in a word for them, you know. And so
Yeah.
I have boundaries about that. I say what I want to say when I say it.
Right. Yeah. That's how most people should be. That's how all people should be. It's a shame that we don't live in a place like that, but yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, YouTube nowadays is just clickbait everywhere. Like literally everything is clickbait. The only good YouTubers you'll find nowadays are like the ones that have under 100,000 subs.
Well, I feel like if you watch the clickbait, YouTube is going to serve you up a lot
I
more
do.
clickbait, because of that algorithm. So
I mean,
if you stick to only
but I
looking
mean,
for the things that you want to see,
I really like the Amazing Atheist. I keep mentioning him, but I like his podcast, Deep Fat Fried. Half of that shit is just them like talking about their Patreon and shit. So that's like half of it's good content. The other half is utter fucking complete garbage.
yeah,
And then same thing with like the drunken peasants towards the end. Like they would spend an hour and a half talking about the different sites you can go to where they're at, and it's like, dude, come on, like where's the content at? And a lot of channels, I feel like they do that nowadays.
the
Like
drunken
even Greg
peasants
Keane,
for me
like
is a sore point when you talk about the Patreon. Like I should have made videos about this, but
right.
uh, this is um, just a point that I'd
No,
like
I have no
to
problem with Patreon. I'm just saying, like,
yeah,
whenever you're spending like an hour and a half of your podcast talking about it,
yeah,
that's an exaggeration, but you know what I mean. There's a problem
yeah.
there, but Patreons they're great, like for creators. They help
Well,
fund them.
you know how people who have gym memberships are like canceling them now because they know they're not going to be using the gym for a couple months, right?
Right.
Gym memberships in and of themselves are psychologically exploitative because if everyone showed up at the gym that was paying for that membership, they would not have the facilities to uh, have for people. People pay and feel good that they have the membership and then they don't go, right?
Yeah, because they have
Same
a gym
thing with some
membership.
of the
Like,
people
well, we
who
can go
do
to the gym
Patreon
whenever I want.
donations. They don't watch every video, right? They donate monthly and they forget about it and they feel good that there are a couple of YouTubers that they are supporting, right? So TJ,
Right.
for a while when it was before the deep fat fried stuff, when TJ was doing the Drunken Peasants podcast solidly, he would tell people, don't go give money to his Patreon, put it on the Drunken Peasants podcast Patreon. On his main channel, he told people that, right? So
Right.
he helped build up the Drunken Peasants Patreon channel to like $10,000 a month they were making,
I remember that.
right? So then he leaves the podcast, and a lot of the patrons that were giving to that podcast, they kept giving.
Yeah, even after TJ left,
And one has
that
to
he was
wonder, did they still associate TJ with the podcast? Did they even know that the drama was going on? Because, sometimes people decide to get a membership to something and they don't pay attention all the time. Like, they don't watch every video. So, did they even realize when he was gone? Or did they just keep on
maybe
donating
not.
every month, not
It really just
realizing,
depends on
oh,
the
hey,
person.
that podcast doesn't have that guy that I like on it anymore. Why am I giving to it?
Yeah, I always liked Ben with TJ on the
Yeah.
podcast. Like Ben was cool and he had cool opinions, but I can't watch the new Drunken Peasants, and also Billy the Fridge is insufferable.
So now TJ's got his own Patreon.
Yeah.
Had to rebuild up his own after telling people not to donate to him, just to donate to the Drunken Peasants, right? So a lot of the people who would have just been donating it straight to him, they were donating to the Drunken Peasants, and maybe they were those people who just like set up an account just to give to like their top 10 favorite people every month and then set it and forget it. When
So
you've
what's
got
TJ at now?
thousands of people that you're dealing with, some of them are like that.
How much money does TJ's Patreon have now?
I'm looking. So Drunken Peasants is actually the 335th biggest podcast on Patreon, and they're making
Not on YouTube.
$4,000 a month now.
That's crazy. I mean, they make like what 2,000 views a video.
Yeah. So in June of 2017, they were making $12,000 a month. $12,500 a month. And then,
That's a lot of money.
yeah, and then just in February 2018, after like a nosedive in their earnings, they went all the way down to 4,000, right?
And it's been there ever since.
But if you're of the opinion that I am, and I think you just voiced that opinion that I have, uh, people were donating for TJ,
100% a lot were.
and
I'm not
so
sure how many stuck around for the podcast or not, but
and
I'm
so
sure
like
there's more than
8,000
a few
worth
that are
of
donating
the
to TJ.
pledges, you know, two-thirds of the pledges, $8,000 a month worth of people, just kind of all realize, hey, TJ's not here anymore, and they left. And the Patreon continues to like dwindle down little by little each month, but it's still around $4,000. It's trending like just slightly down. So
Yeah.
there's like 500 people in this world that maybe just have this donation that they haven't really thought much about. There's a lot of people in the world that with money to throw away. I had a stream the other day that I was messing up the stream, and some guy just dropped $5 in there. And I'm like, hey, I'm not that guy that asks for super chats so that we'll talk. Just fucking say something in the chat and we'll talk. But a month ago, I had someone who I don't even know if they were sober when they dropped in my chat, and they said, if you can guess this, I'll give you $144. And then the next person in the chat to talk was Jen M, who's in the chat today. And she typed in the answer to his riddle. And I read her answer, and the dude donated 144 fucking dollars.
What a dumbass. Good on you, though.
So, like, and I've met the guy in person before. He's not like a dumbass, but like that sort of behavior
He was
wasn't
probably
wasn't
genuine.
really him. It wasn't like him.
Yeah.
So I was like, wow, like this stream that arguably isn't worth $100 just made $100. And so
Yeah.
like the times that I've made money on YouTube are weird. My highest grossing video of all time now is me and Misty going to find the place where a murderer hid the body of his wife and kids. and we gave out the GPS coordinates of it.
That does sound interesting. I am gonna look that up after this stream.
You might have heard of the guy's name. It was Chris Watts. He took up a lot
No.
of cable news for a while, but basically, he worked in the oil fields uh, here in Colorado, and he tried to uh, hide his two kids inside of an oil well. While he buried partially his wife, and he was going to go back there and finish the job and bury the kids. Basically, he stuck his
Ooh,
kids'
that's
dead
dark.
bodies in an oil well.
That's dark. The kids are good though, right?
No, they're all dead. He's in jail
Oh, what
forever.
happened to the kids?
He killed his kids and wife in his house, and then
Oh, so
and
he just
then
took the kids'
the
bodies
spot where
somewhere. I thought they like put them there.
yeah, the spot where they found the bodies, where he was trying to get rid of them.
Yeah.
Misty and I went out looking for the spot. We found it. So that video is really like a travel vlogged video where like it's a lot of it is just me talking into the camera while we're driving. And that video was making like $200 a month over like 6 months.
That's pretty good.
And it was like out of the blue. Like I was treating that video like every other video I make. I was making it just because I wanted to make it. I thought it would get a
Right.
couple hundred views, and it turned out that we got a chip in the windshield of the truck because another truck like kicked up a rock. And just with the first month's revenue, I was able to replace the windshield on the truck, you know, because the windshield was cracked.
It's pretty cool to have that YouTube thing around, isn't it? For that extra income.
I was happy
My
that it paid for the damage that it did to the truck.
yeah, that's true. But my highest viewed video is like the vigilant Christian talk shit about gay marriage,
Mm-hmm.
and like I made that video like in a night, and I treated it but like you were saying, like any other video that I would make.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't rush it or anything, but I didn't like take my time with it. And I just posted it, and then like as the years went by, it got more and more views. Like it didn't make that many views initially, just over time it made more views, and it's my highest viewed video. It doesn't have that many, but it's like 2K views I think right now. But still, I'm proud of it.
So TJ has not been publishing uh, how much he makes per month on his
That's interesting.
Patreon. He only has 122 patrons on his own Patreon, and the best guess is somewhere between 130 and $1,000 a month.
Yeah, that's not that much though. Damn. With a million subscribers. Things really fell apart for him after Sunken Peasants. How often do you do these live streams?
Um, so I kind of didn't have the will to make videos every day for a while.
Right. I have the same problem. That's why I made 10 live streams. I think like 5 of them were in a row.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I get that. It's a nice little way to have quick quips about politics or whatever the fuck you want to talk about without having the dedication to make a full video, you know?
So I've had at least 2 months in a row now where I've uploaded every day something.
Yeah.
And so if I make a video, it'll be just the video. But then if I don't make a video, I've been trying to just jump on and do a live stream. And
Yeah,
given the current circumstances, it's been a little bit more important for people for me to make this live stream because people need some normalcy and they've got a lot more time on their hands of just doing nothing. So I've been keeping it up.
yeah, makes sense.
I just looked up the Deep Fried podcast and they ended their Patreon in 2019 in March.
How are they making money?
I don't know. I'm just looking at Graphtreon's. Uh, see, see what happened is Graphtreon was using information from the API of Patreon, and people were watching uh, uh, Patreon accounts where the patrons were leaving because of harassment from other YouTubers, right? And so
Yeah,
Patreon started adding things like the ability to not publish who your donors are and how much you make and how many donors you have and stuff. And so when they did that, then Graphtreon, which was just a website based on the statistics pulled from Patreon, it started to be all glitchy because after that month to see, then that's where the end of the information is. And so you can't watch
but I want that.
like there was this feud between Charles and Taddy a while back, where like Taddy said that Charles didn't uh, endorse her makeup line; he endorsed somebody else's, and so these were just like makeup gurus, and so people were
Yeah,
like, "Oh, uh, this person's canceled," and they're like, "Oh, this hashtag this person's canceled," and people would watch their subscriber count live just to see what happened to it. It became a spectacle just watching someone's subscriber count go up and down.
yeah,
And
it is.
so,
Like, whenever, again, I'm mentioning TJ Kirk, but whenever he hit 1 million subscribers, like, I was watching his subscriber count because I was excited for him. But yeah, it's a thing. Like, and whenever PewDiePie was gonna hit 10 million, that was a big thing on the internet. I didn't pay attention to that too much, but I remember people tweeting about it. But yeah, it can be a real spectacle on the internet, just watching fucking numbers go up. People are silly, honestly.
Ivan in the chat says that someone said he's going to hell for being part of the Schadenfreude squad. And yeah, there's people who will be in your chat telling you about like where your sub count has gone. Pluto just hung up on me. Maybe his phone died.
Hello.
Hey, did you hang up on me?
No, I didn't. I don't know what happened there.
Well,
I thought maybe you ended the live stream, so I started watching the video again.
no, no. Um, no, I thought you just were the first person to hang up on me on my show.
Nope. Fuck this guy. I should have.
Wow. The delay on the feed sometimes creeps me out. I got to cover it up with a different window because it's moving and it's me. And it's like if a mirror image of you were to be moving, but you're not moving,
Yeah.
it creeps you out.
Like, yeah, and it's like I don't know, like 5-10 seconds slow, so it's
Mm-hmm.
like you in the past.
Kip said, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, he's pissed at me.
Why is he pissed at you?
Oh, because I hung up on you. I was being rude.
Uh,
What do you think about I don't know, Anita Sarkeesian? An old topic. First to come to mind though.
okay, I think that I did some pretty good exposés of her that nobody was listening to, and it would
Yeah.
explain why, if you go to the Feminist Frequency channel right now, you would see
Right.
that her view counts per all those videos that she made that were, she had to make fundraisers to spend like $100,000 per video,
Mhm.
right?
Right,
Something
right.
like
And
that.
she said she'd release a certain amount of videos in this
Mhm.
amount of time, and it didn't happen. Yeah, yeah, I remember.
So if you look at the view counts on those videos,
Right.
they're they're very disappointing. And even if I send people to those videos just to see how disappointing the view counts are, it's not going to really make a dent in how disappointing those video view counts are.
Like on
And
her channel or on your channel?
on her channel, like I could make
Yeah.
a video.
Like she didn't get that many viewers for what the fuck
Yeah,
she got paid for.
if all 200 viewers that would watch my video saying uh, she is a fraud who faked her sub count and faked her own fame with botting her Twitter account and everything, and I've proven that on my account by using certain metrics, and showing that, like, yeah, she's got this many followers who never comment anything. She's got this many Twitter followers who are just eggs.
Yeah.
They're
I
just
mean, yeah, I could see her
different
doing
colored
some bot
eggs.
shit. That sounds right up her alley.
Yeah. So
That's that's
she
that's
pumped up her own
a lot of
numbers.
people's move.
Then she
Frank
made
Keen does that
these
shit.
big productions of videos, and nobody watched them because there
I
was
mean, it doesn't really matter if anybody watched them. She still had the money for them.
there was never
And, and she never
really
played
a
any video
market for
games.
them.
You remember that? She said that she never played any video games in her life. Like she played like maybe Mario when she was a kid or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then she started posting these videos without ever mentioning that she played any video games, mind you. And there's like video game footage in it. Now you're led to believe that's her playing the video games, right? And she does own all these video games, but that footage was taken from other people's YouTube channels.
Yeah.
Like she's a fraud, a complete and utter liar too. I guess that is what a fraud is, but
Well, I think I decided that for me anyway, there's a level of involvement that I feel with certain trends that happened here on YouTube, like people that all got pounced on, whether it be for good reasons or not. But
yeah,
in the future, with my content, I'm gonna find my own punching bags. I'm not gonna jump on the bandwagon of what everybody else is talking about.
right,
Um, and part of that is because I would see how jumping on the bandwagon would give some people a boost to their channel, and I seem to get the same views, and so there's no real incentive in my mind to talk about those topics.
right.
You know,
I mean, for a channel just starting out, it's a good idea to go for the bandwagon thing because you're getting more search results. But for someone like you who actually, you have a built-up audience, you've been around for a minute, people know who you are. Like, you can make whatever video you want to make, and it'll get views, and that's a real perk you have, really. I'm
well,
lucky that I
unfortunately,
fucking
I made a video.
make videos and people watch them still. Like I haven't been on in 3 years. What do they fucking care,
I made a
But
video just titled like Onision, and in the video I said, okay, this is actually just a test to see how much more clicks I get on a video if I just put his name in the title.
How many more did you get? I want to know.
Better than double my normal views.
Damn, that's crazy. I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to make a video about Neon.
But for the amount of investment I had into the videos that I've made, especially emotional investment, I've done some really good detective work on some issues, and then gotten just the same amount of view count. So I'm gonna go look at the things I want to look at rather than what's popular.
Yeah, I
Um,
try to do both. I try to do like what's trending at the moment, but also I make my own videos where I'm just talking about what I want to talk about. I don't see any harm in doing that. But for channels that just cover the trending shit, it kind of feels like someone said on Twitter or something like the atheist community is like a human centipede. Like one person shits out into another person's mouth into another person. Like with the
mhm.
video. You know,
Yeah.
like first you get TJ's video, then Jacqueline's video, and then Repsion's video, and then everybody's video comes out about the same topic, and they all spout the same opinion on it, and there's no variation. Maybe a slight variation, but not much.
One of the since you mentioned both of those people and you are a fan of them, one of the things that ticked me off while I was making videos that were kind of on the bandwagon was that I made videos about Jacqueline Glenn plagiarizing.
Yeah,
The videos I made were
but she did. She did.
she
One
did,
hundred percent.
but the videos I made were showing different instances of her plagiarizing, and she
Right.
went on a little bit of an apology tour. She went on TJ's podcast, and she said that it was only that one time, and they took her at her word
No.
for it. Meanwhile, there were already other instances of her plagiarism that I had exposed on my channel
Right.
that nobody wanted to talk about because of the clickishness here on YouTube. Um,
I don't know if I watched your video back in the day, but I definitely remember seeing multiple instances of plagiarism on someone's video.
so
But yeah,
there were at least three at the time that she did that that I had come out with and exposed her with, and there were others. I wasn't the first person to expose her, but I found three on my own that I had videos of, and so they were never rebutted by her. The videos are still up, and I have a playlist. But she on his podcast said it was only that one time, and I'll never do it again. There were other instances, right?
yeah. And
And they
also,
were
if he
already known.
plagiarized once, he's plagiarized before.
So another person who during that time that was covering this in blog form was the friendly atheist, right?
Right.
When he found out that the person who was finding more instances of plagiarism on her part was me, he decided not to cover the story anymore.
He doesn't like you.
And for what reason I don't know, but I do know that I am not welcome in certain circles in the atheist community.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Even if I'm making a perfectly valid point, and
Right.
all of my research is right there in the video, and it's irrefutable, they will ignore it to keep me from being mentioned.
That goes against what most of them say, but
Mm-hmm.
that's that's an interesting revelation there. But yeah, all of them are like it's like ideas are based on their merit, not based on who says them. So it's crazy.
There was a lot of research that I just gave up on because I lost the passion for it. But one of the things that I was finding a little bit of interesting results in was if you were to compare the speakers at every atheist conference over the years, pretty much any conference you go to, you're going to see the same uh, circus act, the same people piling out of the clown car. It was like as soon as one of these people got on the speaking list, they would call all of their friends in that same clique, and they would all go from speaking tour stop to speaking tour stop, right?
Right.
Most of them looking to sell their books or pimp their YouTube channel, one of the two, sometimes both. But to see over a decade that the internet stars really hadn't changed all that much was kind of weird to me because there was plenty of people talking about the same topics and many of them having far more YouTube subscribers than the people that were on these tours, such as TJ.
Yeah.
TJ was never about going on those tours.
Like what are those tours
TJ would
like?
have his own meetups because he didn't fit in the clique of those other people.
So they would legit go on like tours with other atheists,
Yes, but
like around the country.
if you were to take the different conventions that happened, it would be like American atheists, then the
Oh
AAA
yeah, yeah, I see what you're
atheists,
saying.
the Atheist Alliance, the
And they would just meet up there.
yeah, the Vermont chapter of American Atheists annual conference, the New York chapter of American Atheists annual conference, the Reason Rally. If you were to just like plot each and every one of these conferences and make like a road trip tour, you could see which people would definitely probably be eating dinner together every night. And then if one of them got invited to another conference, they would tell all the others, hey, let's all go to that conference together. You know, that's another opportunity for us all to shill our books. And they got to the point at a certain time where atheism plus was a big topic here on YouTube, where like all the people that were in this clown car that was going around to each stop together seemed to be
Yeah.
on the hit list for people who didn't like atheism plus.
Which atheism plus is atheism plus feminism, right?
Yes, plus a lot more than just feminism, plus social
Right.
justice values. But anyways,
Just call yourself a humanist, then.
it,
You know.
yeah, uh, there already was a movement for that. Yes, and you're right. It is humanism. Uh, Becky Hale, the president of American Humanist Association, is a friend of mine. She lives in Colorado Springs, and there's a video on my channel of me driving around with her. But in every sense, when 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 there's a group and there's too many chiefs, not enough Indians, chiefs will break off from that group and start their own group. You know what I'm saying? Uh, in every group, there's somebody who was the founding member and now is the president of it. And the reason why they're the president of it is that they're the founding member. And
Yeah.
they would not have been voted in because nobody likes them. The whole reason
Right.
why they went
But they're
off and
just
started
defending
their
him.
own group is because,
That's how you do it, though. You know,
yeah, they weren't
you
popular
want to be
enough
a
in
leader
the
of
old
a
group.
group, you go start a group.
Well,
You know.
you can, or you can find a group that you can be not the leader and actually just help
Oh
them
no,
be
no one
good.
wants to do that shit. Who doesn't want to be not the leader, or who doesn't want to be not the leader, dude? Everybody wants to be the leader. You know what I mean?
Maybe for a certain phase of their life when they're just learning.
No,
But
I'm
I
just
could,
joking though.
yeah, I know you're just joking, but for me,
I need a laugh track.
um, I want just to know that my efforts won't be squandered. They won't be in vain. That's what I want out of a movement now.
Yeah, I
And
don't know if
whether
it's
or not
fucking
my
gonna happen.
name
Like,
is
I
is
had hope with
publicized,
that
I don't
Bernie
care
shit,
anymore.
but you know how that turned out.
Yeah.
I hope like maybe Tulsi Gabbard has a shot next time. She was pretty cool. I agreed with her on a lot of stuff.
Unfortunately, with Tulsi Gabbard, um, I feel like it takes a couple cycles of uh, presidential nominees before somebody just gets to be considered. Well, that's the next obvious viable person, and
Yeah,
gets considered a serious candidate. And the best thing that she can get out of this candidacy this year is just name
some like
recognition
clout
for the next one.
basically.
You know.
Yeah. Well, I'm actually getting pretty tired, aging adult, so I'm gonna head to bed. Head
Okay.
home.
Thanks for jumping in with me.
But yeah, it was nice talking to you, man. We should do it again sometime.
Yeah, I'm gonna save your
Good night to all
number.
your viewers too. Huh?
I'm gonna save your number
All
on this
right.
phone
I
as
will
your
save
as your
yours as well.
username, and then you save mine.
All right. Also, I'm gonna pimp out my channel real quick because
Yeah,
it's Pluto Coffins. Look it up. But yeah,
Pluto Coffins,
I'll see you guys later. Bye.
and that'll be the end of the stream too. Thank you, Principled Uncertainty, Barry, and Ivan for sticking around, and maybe Kip.